we have a lot of medical studies of near-death experiences where, we can see that people's consciousness lives on after their physical body is what we call clinically dead.
Their consciousness lives on after their physical body is clinically dead.
Yes.
Does this mean the consciousness is not tied necessarily to the brain?
That is correct. And that is so prolific now. The New York Academy of Sciences last year in 2022 actually came out with a statement in their proceedings where they basically said there is a very credible possibility that your consciousness will survive your bodily death based solely on peer-reviewed medical studies of near-death experiences, terminal lucidity, and intelligence in hydrocephalic patients. It's been overwhelming now.
Wow.
And not only that, but there's actually an afterlife that is reported too. Not just, we have a blind kid, Bradley Burroughs. He's 16 years old, right? And by the way, 81% of blind people see for the first time when they're clinically dead. So they're sitting there on the operating table, flat EEG. That means no electrical activity in the brain, fixed and dilated pupils, no gag reflexes. And suddenly, for the first time, 81% of blind people start seeing.
Wow.
Consciousness can't be located in the physical body because there was, of course, their eyes were in some sense defective and they couldn't see. And believe me, I know what blindness is all about. So the main thing is, okay, what do we do here with Bradley Burroughs? He's 16 years old. He's been blind from birth. He has a heart attack. He zooms outside of the hospital. He doesn't stay in the operating room. He goes right outside the hospital, and he's elevated right at the top of the hospital, outside looking down, and he says, I saw snow for the first time in my life, and then I saw these tracks that were grooved into the snow. I knew they had to be tram tracks because, of course, they're so parallel. So I thought, oh, wow, train tracks in the snow. And then, of course, he said, I saw a grove of trees in the distance there. And then suddenly a tram came by.
Could that have just been his imagination, though?
Impossible.
From what people have told him about what those things look like.
Yes, but...
I'm playing the skeptic here, of course.
But I mean, how could you report, though, on the back of that train there's a sign with an arrow pointing to the right, and that the train went right down this corridor where the tracks were and went into the grove of trees that was in the distance.
So he saw the actual train outside the hospital.
Yes, and trains have schedules.
Not his physical eyes, his soul.
Yeah, his soul. Not his physical eyes, his soul. Because he doesn't have even a physical image in his brain, a visual image in his brain that he could hallucinate. But he saw all of this. He described the tram perfectly, the sign on the back of the tram, what the tram did, that it went to the right into the grove of trees, et cetera, et cetera. How could you possibly recount that flawlessly if you hadn't seen it? But of course, this wasn't in the operating room where his physical body was. It was outside the hospital, up and above the hospital. So, and by the way, we have really, literally thousands of these validated cases that we call veridical data for it. It's so prolific. The New York Academy of Sciences, basically said, yeah, there's a very credible possibility that your consciousness will survive your bodily death. So that's one set of studies. I present it in chapters 4 and 5 of my book, Science of Dorset.